Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Director Chopra, the last time you were here, the Supreme Court was considering a lawsuit championed by predatory lenders and their Republican allies challenging the constitutionality of the CFPB funding. Now, fortunately, the Supreme Court followed the law, and the CFPB is here to stay. Now the Bureau can keep doing its work to deliver on President Biden's agenda, slashing junk fees, policing Wall Street, and so far returning over $20 billion to consumers. But Republicans just can't seem to quit you, Director Chopra. It's another day that ends in Y, so Republicans are concocting even more absurd legal arguments and taking even more extreme steps to try to stop the CFPB from doing its work on behalf of American families. Let's start with junk fees. For some reason, Republicans just love them. A few months ago, a Republican congressman said, and I quote, "Junk fees don't exist, okay? That's a figment of Rohit Chopra's imagination." So, Director Chopra, we have you here. I figured I'd go straight to the source. Are junk fees a figment of your imagination, like Bigfoot?
I don't know who said that, but I think for everyone who has experienced a junk fee, it's incredibly insulting because they are paying up for things that are providing sometimes no service whatsoever. And I'm really proud of the work we've done to wipe out billions of dollars of junk fees.
Do you have an estimate on how much Americans are paying in junk fees?
I don't have the latest update, but it is tens of billions of dollars. Our work, I think, is already delivering, taking out a huge chunk of that. It's making the economy more competitive and making pricing clear up front rather than scattered on the seventh screen.
It's a lot of money that American families are losing to junk fees, but since Republicans are falling all over themselves to defend these junk fees, I wonder if Republicans are hearing something different from the American people that I'm just not hearing. Director Chopra, the CFPB has a hotline for consumer complaints. People actually call you directly. So has anyone ever called the hotline to complain that they are not getting charged enough in junk fees on their credit cards or their bank accounts or their car loans?
I've never heard of that, ever.
Fair enough. My sense is Americans are not clamoring for more junk fees, but Senate Republicans are ready to do the dirty work for their corporate pals. After the CFPB finalized its rule to limit exorbitant credit card late fees, Senate Republicans introduced a resolution to reverse the CFPB's rule and take $10 billion away from Americans. Now, fortunately, it doesn't seem to be stopping the CFPB from working on behalf of American families. Just last month, the Bureau launched an investigation into mortgage junk fees, including the closing costs that families pay when they buy a house. Director Chopra, can you say a little more about why the CFPB is focusing on junk fees in housing right now?
Well, those fees can really drain someone's down payment and really bump up a monthly payment if they're able to get the mortgage, or it could foreclose them from even getting a home. This is something where the mortgage lenders are also upset about because they're being price gouged and having to pass on some of those costs to consumers.
Right. And do you have any sense of whether those junk fees are holding level, going down, or going up?
They've been going up. We've been seeing, at least I can say about closing costs, a market increase in closing costs in the past several years.
So I saw one source citing that from 2021 to 2023, that closing costs rose by 36%. You have any explanation for that other than junk fees?
Well, there's certainly some aspects. It's possible there are more individuals doing points rate buy downs, but certainly there are other places where fees have been inflated that mortgage lenders and consumers are both pretty mad about.
So I understand that in 2022, a typical borrower paid nearly $6,000 in extra fees to close on a home. And that right now the CFPB is working on trying to put at least a chunk of that money back in the buyer's pocket. Is that right?
That's right. I think that will help the entire economy.
All right. So if you're wondering why Republicans are introducing legislation to protect junk fees and working overtime to come up with fantastical legal theories to kill the CFPB, I think the answer is pretty clear. Republicans are in bed with big business to rip off families and to protect corporate bottom lines. Director Chopra and President Biden are cracking down on junk fees so that they can help lower costs for American families. And I thank you for your work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Warren. Senator Brett from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much for being